You know, a lot of times things don't make sense until they make sense. I'll reword that. You know how often people have crazy ideas and then it actually pops off? You know, in the initial stages, everyone's telling them how crazy it may sound, and then they make it work, and now everybody wants to be on board. It happens all the time. I said all that to say, don't let people talk you out of a good idea. What's the worst that can happen? Give it a try and see what happens. Also, don't talk yourself out of a good idea. A lot of times we worry about what people might think before we even present it to the world, or before we even try to do it. And so take that in consideration next time you have a thought or something pops in your head that you want to try. Don't just let that thing float away and then you forget about it. Give it a shot. I mean, I think about little things that sounded ridiculous back in the day. I know the telephone probably sounded ridiculous before we had telephones. I know the internet sounded like some kind of magic or something before we, had the internet. I remember a situation when my first job, I worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I had a coworker, and this had to be 2001, 2002, and he told me that he had an MP3 player, and I was like, what is that? He was like, man, I got I can't remember the number. I think it was like 60, 70 songs on one device or whatever. And, at the time, CDs were a thing. And so I'm like, how can you put all those songs on one device? And so we went out to his car and he was showing me his MP3 player. And I can't remember the exact number, but it was a bunch of songs on one device. And I can't remember what the device looked like. And I thought that was the most amazing thing in the world. I'm like, and it just was weird. And now we get to the point where we got to the point we had iPods. I had a Microsoft Zoom. I don't know if you guys old enough to remember that. And now we got all these songs on our phone and we don't even think twice about it. So it didn't make sense when he initially presented the idea or showed me the MP3, but now it's just an afterthought. It's like, why would you use that? Just use your phone. You can put as many songs as you want. You got Apple Music, or you got Spotify and all this other stuff. But back then, to just tell somebody about that stuff, it sounded absolutely ridiculous. So just know, a lot of things don't make sense until they make sense. Take care.